Okay, live has started. Okay. First, I will explain the theory behind drag through slides. Then I will show demo with some sample coding. Okay. So if there are any audio issues or any kind of screen not visibility, that kind of issues, just let me know. Okay. Um, so first of all, what is RAG and why we need to care about that, right? RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. It is the process of combining both the retrieval process as well as generation process. Okay, I will be explaining that in detail in the next slide. So basically, that name means retrieval augmented generation. So basically, it is generation. That generation process is augmented with the retrieval process. Okay, so retrieval augmented generation. Let me explain with samples and diagrams later. Okay. Basically, RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. It is like it has lot of variations and different kinds of branches like graph RAG. Almost many companies are providing their own frameworks also. Okay, there are a lot of things are there, but in this webinar, I'll be focusing more on the very basic RAG. Okay, so RAG overview. So RAG is a hybrid AI model that combines retrieval-based methods like fetching relevant information from a knowledge source with generative methods, that is creating new text. Okay, so let me explain it in detail. The first thing is retrieval-based methods. Okay, and the next one is generative methods. Okay, retrieval that are that process very it's being there for a long time. Okay, say for example searching databases or searching like Google search, that kind of thing. So or just searching a text or paragraph within a PDF file, right? So mostly we used to do keyword based search previously, right? So basically getting some information from the knowledge source. Knowledge source can be database, PDF files, or any kind of repository. Okay, so it is very traditional one. There are different ways are there for getting fields, and in that case, it's mostly based on previously based on keyword search. Okay, now because of that embedding models other things, we use vectors databases. Okay, so basically getting the relevant information from the knowledge source, that retrieval process. Okay, process. And another thing is generative methods. Generative is like recently because of the right, generative AI, artificial intelligence, like large language models, LLMs, like LLM applications like ChatGPT, Gemini, they will be able to generate new text or any kind of new information, right? They can write story, they can write articles. Okay. Um, Not only text, other things also there. Uh, Multimodal models are there. Okay. So basically, they can generate response. Okay. RAG is the process of combining both things, particularly augmenting that generative process by fetching the relevant information from the knowledge source. That is why I called as retrieval augmented. So basically, it enhances the language models, LLMs, like that kind of LLMs can be like their accuracy or reliability can be improved by grounding their. Let me explain. For understanding that thing, we need to understand importance of RAG. Otherwise, why we need RAG? Okay. So if we understand that information, then obviously we can easily. So let me explain about the importance of RAG. So to understand the importance of RAG, again we need to understand the limitations of current LLMs, right? So previously, so we all know that artificial intelligence, AI, is like it's developing very fast, right? It's almost affecting all the industries. Okay, uh, but that thing is happening recently only. But theoretically or fundamentally, AI is there for a long time. Many decades back, a lot of the algorithms were developed many years back, many decades back, okay, including back propagation. So we are seeing the improvements in the recent years, right? All because of these LLMs, large language. Not only language models, well, a lot of other foundation models are there, right? For image, a lot of things, basically foundation models. So that foundation models are developed by many companies because of the deep learning, right? In case of machine learning, though the algorithms were there for a long time, they were not that much useful because at that time we didn't have that kind of computing power and data for using systems. But around 20 years back, at that time, some companies were trying to use that kind of algorithms, but internally, some of them were successfully using, but that didn't come to the mainstream. Masses are not using it, not using at that time because of lack of computing power and the data. That are key things. Okay, but recently, now because of internet and digitization of all the content, uh, we are getting and especially social media. Uh, Now we are getting lot of data, right? So with that data, we can train that AI models. That is one important thing. Another thing is because of computing power. Now the CPU and almost a lot of huge data centers, powerful computing power are there, right? Because of that setup, we will be able to use that. Okay, and because of deep learning, that the fundamental difference between deep learning and the traditional machine learning is deep learning can understand or get the details from complex can understand the complex patterns from a huge amount of data. Because of that ability, a lot of new developments are happening, and especially it needs a lot of data. Only when we provide a huge amount of data, then only it will be working fine. In case of traditional machine learning, few amount of data or data is enough to work properly. But in case of deep learning, we have to provide a lot of data. So in that scenario, uh, like collecting huge amount of data, providing a lot of computing power, it's not feasible for everyone, right? So that is why like corporates or companies with a lot of sources, they started this kind of approach, like collecting huge amount of data with a lot of computing power. They started training that kind of models. They're called the foundation models, right? So that models are trained with a lot of data, and like that companies are providing API access so that anyone can easily access them. So because of this model, now a lot of people are using AI, especially common people started using AI through ChatGPT, Gemini, DeepSeek, Q1, that kind of LLM application, right? Uh, but other things like even Google Photos, everywhere is there. Uh, but like everyone, it's becoming very close to the people because of the LLMs. So it is very clear that LLMs are revolutionizing AI, right? Um, but the problem is that kind of LLMs, whatever we with the ChatGPT or Gemini, see, that kind of LLMs, actually they are just a user interface, ChatGPT and the Gemini, that kind of stuff. In the backend, they use their models like GPT-4, GPT-4o, like that. That LLMs models are there. So that models are useful only for like very like non-critical applications. The reason is there are three different reasons. Let me explain one by one. One main reason is knowledge cutoff date. Okay, as I explained, that kind of huge models trained with a lot of data with huge computing power. That process will very expensive, right? So they won't do it frequently. They will be doing it every 1 year or 6 months, like that only, right? So in that case, suppose if that model was trained 6 months back, uh, that knowledge cutoff date, after that knowledge cutoff date, it won't be having any latest information. It won't be having any news information or any latest events or any kind of new software releases, any information, any new information, it won't be there. Okay, but you can ask that, okay, in that case, how ChatGPT and Gemini are able to give latest information, right? That is a different process. As I said, internally they use LLM models, but it's basically a application. It is using other things. Okay, search, other functionalities also there. By combining both things, they're managing. Okay, fundamentally, if you use LLM models through API, they won't be having latest information. They're having certain knowledge cutoff date. Okay, so limited knowledge cutoff. That is the one major issue LLMs. And the next thing is hallucinations. Okay, that inherent nature of LLM is it's a generative, right? Basically, it's a generative thing. That is how they are developed. The transformer models behind that LLMs are designed that way only. Okay, so it's like the fundamental difference is like though we are calling it artificial intelligence, they are not provided with any kind of intelligence. Okay, they are just a prediction, like finding next in the sequence, like that. That kind of algorithms almost. As of now, there is no solid algorithms they can give cognitive power or actual intelligence. Okay, so because of that inherent nature of generative things, suppose if you are asking something, some question, that for that question, if that LLM is not having enough data, it will be just trying to generate some answer. Okay, so in that case, obviously, it will be incorrect or wrong answer, right? So that is what called as hallucination. They will be start giving some irrelevant answers when asked some questions. Okay, the main problem is if they are saying that I don't know any relevant information like that. If they are giving answer means okay, we can manage in our applications, but they will be giving irrelevant answers. They will be generating wrong answers. Okay, so that is major issue. Previously, I used to notice almost all kinds of LLMs, but now their applications are just managing somehow. But currently, that if you use the model directly, they'll be having that issue. Okay, so this is second issue, hallucination. First issue is knowledge cutoff date. Second issue is hallucinations, and third one is lack of private information. So those LLMs were trained with private public information only. There won't be any private information. But if you want to use for any kind of chart application or anything, almost all the companies and organizations will be expecting to use their own data, right? Suppose if you are developing a chart application for giving customer support about your product, it should be knowing about your product details, right? And that too updated product information. Just getting your details from your website and using that trained data may not be that much helpful. Okay. So it needs access to private information. Because of lack of private information, that LLMs are not that much useful for commercial purpose. So by combining all these things, we can understand that their usage is very limited, just for fun purpose or for just creating some articles. So non-critical applications, they are useful. But only when they are commercially useful, then only it will be really useful, right? In that case, in that sense, that companies started exploring ways to handle them. So the RAG concept initially proposed by Facebook. So to avoid all these things, knowledge cutoff date, hallucination, and lack of repetition, uh, they come up with this plan. It's a very simple concept only. So for handling knowledge cutoff date, we have to provide the latest information. We have to retrieve the knowledge base. Okay. for the latest information. To handle hallucinations, we need to provide relevant context to ground the LLMs. So in that case, the same process, like relevant information from knowledge phase and knowledge source, and augmenting it with the prompt and then passing it to LLM. That process will solve that problem. And third one, lack of private information. Here also, in the knowledge base, our own knowledge base, we can keep our private information. Okay. So for that purpose only, RAG started becoming very popular, because it's a very key thing. Okay. Okay, in that case, we can think like, okay, so RAG is very simple. Okay, we have to get the relevant information and pass it to the LLM along with the user, right? So in that case, obviously, we can think that, okay, why we need to do a lot of things. Yeah, I will explain in the that it's a fundamental thing. Okay. Um, Here, solution with RAG is same thing. Or we have certain problems, so the RAG will be uh, solving that problem. Give access to up to date, and it can provide context responses, and it can help to the. So as I
Raja,
yeah
sorry to disturb.
yeah
We are unable to see your presentation. Can you share your screen?
started YouTube live, right? So YouTube people be your now is
Yeah, we are able to see. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
importance of key problems like knowledge cut off date and hallucination. So solution RAG, providing the solving those, providing access and making it context of providing provide hallucination and enabling the private information. How does RAG work? As I said, RAG is a very simple process. Just we are going to augment the user prompt knowledge, like context information retrieved from the knowledge source. So in that case, the steps are like input query, user asks questions, it's common, and retrieval. Model retrieves relevant documents from knowledge source. So the step is like the system should get the relevant documents from the knowledge source. I will explain in detail with the diagram next. Next process is generation. The model, I mean the can response based on the retrieved information. In that case, we have to just create the prompt by including the context information. Yeah. It is visible, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah,
We
okay.
are able to see you.
Here I trying to explain very basic drag, okay, so that can easily. Here user query, the first step. Maybe we can assume it as a chatbot, simple chatbot. Okay. chatbot for supporting some kind of customer care. Okay, a company they will be providing their knowledge base. Like say for example, some they're having certain products. Okay, and they have the product details in these documents. So now the user is going to ask questions related to that. Okay. So in easy ways, traditional ways, we can create some web interface where people can search that information, and then it will be giving like search results by doing keyword search from the documents, and from there we can find something, right? So that is traditional way. Okay. In that case, that is having a lot of inefficient thinking, right? So you're familiar with searching some PDF file or any kind of text-based editors, we can understand, right? We have to exactly type the words properly. It's purely keyword only. Okay. We cannot use semantic search. Semantic search is very important because of this AI developments. Semantic search at thing. And another thing is natural language processing, NLP, right? So we can like ask question and like different kinds of natural language. Like say for example, if you are planning to ask, if you are asking like what is the price of that product, okay? So some people will be asking that, asking like, tell me the product price. Some people will be asking what is the product price. They will be typing. Some will be interested in asking voice. So in that case, if they are just searching for price, means keyword search is enough. But in this case, we have to provide that NLP. So in that case, important AI, right? And not only like NLP, as I said, semantic search also. Semantic search in the sense like for price, instead of price, what is the like some people will be asking what is the amount of charge or fees for this price, like that. Some will be asking different words, right? Different words with the same meaning. Okay. So in that case, that semantic that enabled. So for that purpose, we are using vector search. Okay. Otherwise, if you remove these steps, it will be very simple. Your query, and we have to get the details from document, and we have to pass the details to the LLM. Okay. But that won't be that much effective. So almost all the RAG, so it is basic RAG only. In this setup itself, mostly everyone will be implementing a vector search. Okay, so that is why I selected one. So it is very basic thing, but only additional thing is this vector search other things. Without vector search also we can implement. Okay, but that won't be that much useful. But the fundamental RAG concept is like get the user query first step. Based on the user query, search the documents, get the context, and then create the prompt by combining the query and context, send it to LLM, get the response. That is the fundamental. Any questions about this fundamental step? Okay, let me. There are any questions? Just to stop me. I'm audible, right?
Yes, you're
Yes,
audible.
Raja.
Yeah, yeah, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay. So here, user is query. Maybe we can assume the chatbot something. For doing vector search is like based on embedding. Okay, embeddings. If you're familiar with the NLP, so it's like numerical equivalent of some text. There are different kind of vectors like dense vector, sparse vector. So in case of in case of if you are handling with a sparse vector, like for handling that, some embedding models are there like BM25 algorithm. It is based on TF-IDF. Okay, they are very simple, but they are not that much now relevant. Now we have a lot of advanced things. Okay, So, but that if you want to know how these things are working, maybe understanding those things will be very easy. But in this latest things, a lot of complex embeddings algorithms are there. So understanding those things will be a bit difficult. But overall and purpose is, if you give the text, that embedding model will convert into some numbers, array, that kind of stuff. Okay, so vectors basically. So that is the purpose of embedding. So we have to convert the documents to equivalent to embeddings, and then we can store it in the vector database. There are different kinds of vector database available, like very simple vector database is ChromaDB. It is open source vector database. We can locally use very lightweight. Okay, we can easily handle them. And maybe for learning purpose it will be okay. But if you want to deploy it in cloud things, better we can go with cloud based managed databases, vector databases like Pinecone. Pinecone is very common one. And Pinecone supports both sparse vectors and dense vectors. And other than that, Facebook also providing simple vector database like FIRES. Okay, so basically vector databases are very effective in managing embeddings. Okay, that is reason why we have to use vector databases. But technically the embeddings is just equivalence of documents. Just for learning purpose, we can use any files. We can store the embeddings in any file, any standard database also. But there won't be any unique advantage of keeping it as embeddings. The unique advantage is there are many advantages. The key advantage is processing numbers will be very faster. It is very a basic thing, even for any kind of stuff, for even traditional programming. Instead of if there are any categories or any kind of things, normal while defining databases, we will be storing the values with numbers, right? If there are 10 categories, we will be creating separate table for categories, and we will be assigning numbers for each category item, right? And then we will be using that number in our main table, right? Transaction table. So similarly, processing numbers will be faster compared to processing text. That is one reason. Another reason here, the key reason is semantic search. Okay, that is why mostly almost most of the RAG applications are using vector database setup. Okay, so the semantic search is like here, as I said, the user query, it's a natural language query, right? They will be asking the questions in different formats. Okay, it's not like exact keywords. They won't be providing keywords. They will be typing sentences or talking long words, long sentences, right? So in that case, uh, like searching the documents, it's a bit difficult without semantic search, right? As I said, one simple example is for price. If the document is having the text as price, and if we search with amount, it won't be matching in case of traditional keywords, right? So in case of semantic, semantic is just meaning, like similar meaning, right? So if you go through not only just dictionary meaning, it has a lot of very useful relationships, okay, or connections. One example is dictionary meaning. Okay, other than that, it's got a lot of things. It's context based things. If you go through many articles related to these things, mostly they'll be trying to explain with the words king and queen, that kind of stuff, right? That when we store the words in the embeddings, as I said, the words will be converted into numbers. That numbers will be like the relations will be based on the closeness of the words. Say for example, if the document is having words like king, queen, palace, like that, in the context of historical some kind of monarchy, that time that words will be getting like closeness. Okay, just for simplicity, I'm saying some number, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay, but in actually it's like multidimensional things. It's a multidimensional array, matrix kind of stuff. Okay, um, but just for the sake of simplicity, I'm just saying that not multidimensional. It's a very like lengthy things. Okay, each word will be converted into like a lengthy. Okay, just for the simplicity, I'm just saying 1, 2, 3. Okay, if there are multiple words are there, that related words will be very near. Okay, say for example, king is 4 means queen will be 3, palace will be 5, like that. Okay, they will be getting like close numbers. Okay, if you are searching for something like words related to these things, then these things can be easily retrieved because of that closeness. Okay, numbers. And in case if the document is like related to something related to like um, say for example some e-commerce company dealing with beds and mattress, that case that words will be king and queen, that will be related to that bed size, right? So it won't be related to palace or kingdom, right? So in that case, if the word kingdom is coming in that context, that will be assigned with some distance number. Okay, uh, the bed and the mattress, that will be having closeness with the king and queen. So that gives semantic meaning. So that is the reason why we have to use vector search. But as I said, without vector search also we can implement RAG. It's not part of RAG, but almost all the RAG applications will be having basically this setup. Apart from that, a lot of things are there, re-ranking, complex things there based on our use cases and availability of resources. We can go with that kind of things. But fundamentally, the very minimum configurations or very simple applications also require these kinds of vector search that setup because of giving the semantic meaning feature and making it fast because of this numerical problem. Okay, so vector databases are fully optimized for these things. Okay, even in case of embeddings, we can handle with other files also, but that we won't be getting the unique advantage of the things. So just we need to understand the basic process. It will be useful for assigning some kind of parameters when we do the coding. Okay, there we need to provide the dimensions. Okay, in that case we if you are familiar with this process, okay, if the embedding is having like dimensions like 300 or something, if the vector database is providing options of assigning numbers like 1000 or 2000, no, there is no meaning of setting high dimensions because uh, LLM embedding itself like 200 means there is no use of allocating more things. So in that case, we can just set the dimensions as 200 something. Okay. So for that purpose, it is better to understand this basic. We have documents, text documents, and we are converting into uh, embeddings and storing it in vector search. Okay. So before converting embeddings, the documents, we have to split the documents. Okay, it is very important. What I previous slide I just try to explain. Here, if I am explaining here means it will be more. I'm telling that RAG is important for like giving the latest information or giving the private information, that kind of stuff. So obviously we can think that okay, while asking question, say for example, if we take ChatGPT, we can just upload our PDF files and then we can ask questions, right? So a lot of PDF talking, that kind of applications are there. So similarly, we can ChatGPT also providing that option, right? So we will be thinking that okay, we can just upload the documents and we can ask questions. In that case, ChatGPT will be getting the latest information document, private information documents. Since it's getting more information, hallucinations will be avoided. So it is like solving the purpose of what RAG is, right? So in that will be very initial thought. But the problem is all the LLMs are having a certain context window limit. Okay, we cannot dump all the details. One problem is in case of API usage, they will be charging based on the number of tokens. So that number of tokens usage will be increased, and we have to pay more. Okay, that is one major thing. Other than that, technically also, all the LLMs are having certain context window limit. We cannot send a huge amount of data. Okay, so LLMs will be having certain limitation in processing the input. That is one reason. But recently, the new models are coming with a huge context window, more than million tokens like that coming. But RAG experts are saying that even though they are just allowing them that much information, it doesn't mean that they can process effectively all the details. So even if they are technically they are allowing, it is better to provide only the relevant information so that we can get accurate response. In that context, still tag is record. Okay, so in that case, for providing relevant information, we have to split the document. Okay, otherwise, just sending all the details is not meaningful. Not the purpose of RAG, right? Purpose of RAG is providing context information, relevant chunks only. Okay, so in that case, we got to split the documents before embedding them, creating embedding for them. So with say for example, if our document is having 100 pages, we can split them page based on the pages, based on the sections, number of words, number of characters, number of sentences. So it's based on our use cases. Okay, we have to split the document. After splitting, we will be having many number of chunks. Each chunk should be converted into equivalent embeddings, and those embeddings should be stored in vector database. Okay, for converting this text into embeddings, we can use different kinds of embedding models. Okay, there are symbol embedding models are there. Even like OpenAI is also providing a embedding model API, so we can use that also. But in case of using embedding models from OpenAI or any cloud providers, that will be we have to pay for that, right? But again, it's not one-time payment. Whenever the user is entering the query, again we have to do the LLM that embedding for the query also. Then only we can do the vector search, right? If the data document data is in embedding, the search also search word also should be in embedding, right? And that also the same embedding. It should be the embedding should be created with the same embedding models. Here, if you are using one embedding model, but I used to see this kind of things. Some people will be starting with some high-priced embedding model to get some good yes. But they will be facing difficulties in paying a lot of money for that kind of embedding. So they will be deciding to use some like low level embedding models, but that won't work because we have to use the exactly same embedding model. Okay, so here if you are using OpenAI embedding model, here also whenever we get the user query, again we have to use the same embedding model, then only the vector search will work properly. So here embedding model, here it's like case if you are going with LLM based embedding model, it can get a lot of huge semantic meaning. Okay, say for example, if the document is having Chennai, if the user is asking a question like Madras, it can understand. Okay, it is about Chennai like that. It will be retrieving the data related to Chennai also. Okay, that kind of semantic meaning it can get because the LLMs are trained with all these details, right? So while creating the embedding, they can create the embeddings that equal numeric numbers based on these factors. Okay, but if you use some simple sentence transformers, that kind of embedding models like with only with the dictionary data, they can work with dictionary data. If your document is about having a section about some kind of happiness or something, if the user question is about joy, it can easily match. Okay, that kind of semantic, that kind of meaning it can provide. But if you want to get a lot of things like if you are asking about Tamil Nadu, if you want to explain about Chennai, that kind of state city relationship or the different alternate names, that kind of things, or like abbreviation. If the document is having information about New York, and if the user is asking New York City, if the user is asking just asking NYC, I can understand. Okay, so in that case, we have to go with, if we want to work perfectly for all kinds of scenarios, it is better to do the embedding with good embedding. But we have to pay for that. But our requirements are very limited. We can use simple embedding models also. Okay. So key thing is we have to use the same embedding models for the documents as well as for user query. So the vector search will be done based on various things like normally cosine similarity. It's a mathematical thing. Euclidean distance or cosine similarity. That will be returning that number. Like it's like say for example distance, whether if it is very close or it's somewhat distant. Okay. Say for example that number is also very important. Say for example, if the search your user is asking some question about particular product, if that product is itself not there in the document, fundamentally it is just search, right? So search based on the similarity. So in that case it will be just returning, say for examples top k, like that in the coding we have to provide. If you are providing top 3, it will be still sending 3 chunks. Okay. It won't say that match is not found, not, it won't say like that. Okay. So in that case, for like further doing validations, we have to consider the distance, whether the distance is at least like more than 0.5, like that. Okay. Just as an example I'm telling. So if it is beyond certain threshold, then we can take that value. Otherwise we can like that. So a lot of things are there, and hybrid search also there. Instead of just using this dense vector, we can combine with sparse vectors also. So that is completely different thing. As I said, a lot of different frameworks, a lot of different approaches, a lot of things are there. Okay, it's all purely based on our use cases and our available. But the fundamental thing is we have to split the documents chunks and store it in the database, vector database, and we have to again get the user query and do the embedding again, get the query vector, and we have to search the query vector vector database, okay, to get the top k results, top 3, top 1, whatever we set. So that that is called as context. Okay, so that context information will be sent to the LLM along with the query. So here the augmentation process, we have to get the user query, and we have to get the context chunks, and we have to combine the query and the context chunk, and some system prompt also. We can additionally add that, okay, consider this context information and give answer to this query purely based on the context information. Because even if we are providing context informations, sometimes LLMs will be working, they have a lot of information apart from this context information, right? They will be just trying to like use their data. So we have to specifically mention that you should not use your own data. You have to use only the context information provided from this prompt. Okay, like that we have to give some instruction. Otherwise, if the document is you're like you're creating one application for allowing the user to ask some invoice details, if they are asking some details about some particular invoice, if that document is not having that information, as I said, it will be still it will be returning top k results, and we will be sending that. That information won't be there, but LLMs will be like just trying to search their indexed information, right? If that particular number is there for any other invoice or for any other database or anything, just it will be generating the response. Okay, so we have to provide proper system information prompt. The augmentation, that step requires combining the user query, doing that chunks, context chunks, and providing proper system prompt. Okay, so overall process. Here we used to normally call it as it's offline process, it is online. It is almost one-time process, right? One-time in the sense, if the documents are getting updated, again we have to do that doc embedding against. But it is online process. Like it's done for every query. Maybe for reducing the API usage, we can implement some cache mechanism, right? So suppose one user is asking one question and another user is asking the same question. Instead of doing all these things, maybe we can just give reply from the cache itself, so that we can save some LLM usage embedding use. So otherwise, normally it is like every time we have to like convert the user query into embedding model and vector search, get the context chunks, and create the prompts by including the user chunks, LLM, and get the result. The online process we have to do. It is one-time process of offline process. So whenever we develop RAG applications, it is better to split it separately. Otherwise, if you are doing it every time, means we have to pay a lot of money for embedding. But whenever the documents are getting changed, there is no other way. We have to do the doc embeddings again to update the vector database latest information. Any questions? The next.
Hi, Raj. I have a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, ask me.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, like, for example, if there's a query with which happens simultaneously at a time, would there be a problem handling the answers with regards to the query?
The question is about the same query asking simultaneously.
Yeah, like for example, there are three or more or about 10 people asking at the same time with using the RAG. Would there be a problem with the system handling the answers or providing the answers? Or would that be okay?
Yeah, but it is. I understand your question, but it's not related to RAG. It is a very general thing, right? So if you have to handle memory, that kind of, you have to maintain session. Okay, so you're talking about session management, right? Example, simultaneously, two persons are asking questions. I am asking one question: what is the capital of India? You are asking the question like, what is the capital of like USA? So you are saying that that will be creating confusion, correct?
I Yeah, what I mean is that actually we're having a project that there be like for example an information system,
Okay.
and what if they were the actually especially during enrollment there are a lot of people who will be accessing that website and asking questions. So I'm wondering if there are bulk of people asking questions, would there be problems with how the system interacts or handles these queries?
From RAG perspective, there is no problem, but your application perspective, you have to manage this session. Otherwise, it will be problem, right? If one question, one user is asking simultaneously from another system, right? You mean to that?
The same system, because we are planning to use RAG in the system itself.
No, that is your rack setup. That is one system. The user will be asking. The both users will be sitting in some other place, right? Or
Yeah, correct.
it's a simultaneous question, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that case definitely you have to implement. It's not about RAG. Even if you are not using RAG, even if you are like getting a reply from directly from database, you have to manage sessions.
Okay, thank you very
It's a
much.
very fundamental. It seems you are new to application development. For any application, it's not related to RAG. I understand. So you're asking about very basic thing. So any application. So basically, it's a statelet. Okay, let me explain that. I thought of it's again similar to HTTP. All these LLMs, this API access, everything is stateless. Okay, you are asking one question, and it won't remember your question. Okay, even if you are asking subsequent question like you are asking like is the capital of India, then you are asking tell the population there, like that you are asking. Okay, we can leave about multiple things. Even the same person, if the person is first asking what is the capital of India, and if he is asking tell the population there, it won't understand the second question. Okay, it's a stateless protocol. Okay, it's not protocol. It's similar to HTTP stateless protocol. It is like the API access that everything is stateless. That is why we have to, in the application development, we have to maintain the state. Okay, in case of this next questions, we have to append the previous questions along with our prompt. Okay, so suppose if you are asking first time asking the capital of India, and you are getting response Delhi, and then you are asking like tell the population about that place. In that case, it won't recognize that that context. Okay, so in that case, in your application, whenever we ask this, here we are preparing the prompt, right? Whenever we prepare the prompt here, along with context chunk and the current query, you have to provide other context information, like like all the previous queries. There are different approaches there. Okay, we can send include all the previous queries. In that case, it will be like if people are like people are continuously asking questions, means if there are more questions, means it is very difficult to manage, right? Again, the context window problem will be coming. So in that case, like frameworks like LangChain, they are providing map reduce, that kind of stuff. They will be just summarizing the previous questions. Maybe they will be picking the key information from the previous question, and we have to send that. Now, normally ChatGPT, Gemini, all the applications will be liking in that way only. So it's basically purely based on application development. From RAG perspective, that API access to LLM is purely stateless. Okay, so surely we have to keep this in mind while developing the application. We have to maintain the session so that we can handle multiple users, simultaneous users, and we have to uh, uh, maintain the context history so that it can understand our previous questions or any kind of other information. Okay. Even in the chat GPT, if you go through the settings, you can get the details. So if you check the memory, that tab, you can see your information. So that they design that they will be like keep on uh, collecting your details, key details from your questions, and they will be keeping in the memory. And whenever you ask further questions, they will be sending that memory details also along with your current code. That is how almost all kinds of applications, especially AI applications, work in that. So surely we have to maintain multiple, for managing multiple users, simultaneous users. It is important to maintain session. So whether you are using Streamlit, that kind of UI, or what kind of UI you are using, your interface? So almost all.
We're not there yet. We're still in the
Okay.
conceptual
Oh, in
stage.
the
That's why.
theoretical stage. Okay, okay. So almost all these kind of libraries. Suppose if you are choosing some library, they will be providing some options for managing sessions. Can you use that option? So it's important to maintain the
Okay, thank you very much.
components of RAG and require generated knowledge source. Generated like LLMs. So retriever, it is for searching the knowledge base, knowledge source. One example I explained about vector database, other things, right? So the documents. Apart from documents, we can dynamically from any kind of API, right? Want to get weather information, we can get it from API related to that kind of services. Here RAG, this session I'm just highlighting RAG. RAG is a very simple workflow, but these days almost this year, a few weeks back I did a one live talking about emerging AI Trends 2025. There I explained about current trends. Okay, RAG, we can say that it is there for compared to other latest things, it is there for a long time. But it is just a workflow. Okay, we can see as workflow. Uh, but now AI agents and agentic AI, particularly agentic AI is becoming. Okay. So there we have to use tools. Lot of, I will explain. I will give some overview about it. But here, this webinar is particularly for RAG. What I'm trying to say is knowledge source can be anything. It's not just documents. Applications of RAG, mostly like chatbots, right? Doing kind of content creation. Advantages, same thing, right? I talked about limitations, LLMs, right? Advantage of RAG is just the same things, solving the limitations of LLMs are not having up-to-date information. RAG is providing access to real-time or updated information. It is reducing hallucination. Traditionally, we use retrieval. That was accurate, but it like it's having some shortcomings, like lack of NLP, semantic. Latest LLMs, the generation that things are having a lot of advantages, but the reliability is low. So we are combining best of both things. RAG. Limitations of RAG, like again, it's purely based on knowledge source, right? If the knowledge source is not having related information, then the same problems will be continuing. So it is very important to uh, provide quality knowledge and computationally expensive. They explain it's the offshore that process, offline process. We have to convert all the um, documents into equivalent uh, embeddings vector for storing the vector database. And every time whenever the user asks questions, again we have to convert the user query uh, vector query vector, and then we have to do the vector search, and then we for the prompt, and then again send the LLM, right? And it whatever I explained, it's a simple process, but this simple process may not be enough for our actual use cases. Okay? We have to implement hybrid search kind of mechanism, or we have to use multiple LLMs, and we have to do the re-ranking. So a lot of things are there. For the RAG, the concept is very simple. Implementing RAG applications is again simple with the help of like libraries like LangChain. But the problem is making it very useful. That is really a very challenging one. We have to do a lot of research related to making them really useful for our cases, particularly different type of questions. It may be working for certain things, but when we put it in production, there may be a lot of issues. Not like a traditional software testing kind of stuff. In that case, if you are testing with some kind of data, with some covering major scenarios, then we may not be facing any kind of difficulties in the production. But in case of these kinds of AI applications, like evaluating any kind of AI applications is really tough task. So we have to, based on shortcomings, we have to increase the complexity of our RAG pipeline. So in that case, that computation, it will be requiring more computing. LangChain framework. LangChain framework. Okay, it's library, not a simple library. It's collections. You can call it as framework uh, for simplifying the development of LLM based applications. Example is you can use LangChain for RAG. But recently, because of this agentic AI, other new developments, you have to use LangGraph. So LangGraph is basically from the same company, LangChain, and basically it will be LangChain libraries also. On top of LangChain libraries, you have to use LangGraph. But RAG is linear flow, on through that flow, right? So RAG is just step by step only. So we are going to just get the document and then split it and then convert it to embeddings and then store it in the vector database and then again user query and converting the user query into embeddings and going to do the vector search and then creating the prompt and then sending the prompt and then getting the response from LLM. All are like purely linear, like one by one, right? So in that case, LangChain is suitable. That is why they provided the name as LangChain. It's like chain kind of stuff. So in case if we do all the coding manually without any kind of this framework, then maintaining the code or doing changes difficult. Say for example, uh, we noticed that for implementing RAG, we need vector database, we need LLM, right? So as I explained previously, there are different kinds of vector database like Pinecone, Bias, Chrome, like a lot of different kinds of vector databases are there. And similarly, we know that a lot of LLMs are there. Okay. Say for example, you are starting the project with OpenAI embedding model and Pinecone database and OpenAI LLM like that you are starting, but you are feeling that you have to pay a lot of money to run that thing, okay, because of a usage, and you plan to do a lot of open source. In that case, you are planning to replace the vector database instead of Pinecone. You are planning to use ChromaDB instead of OpenAI's embedding model. You plan to use some sentence transformer embedding model from Hugging Face. Okay, and again, you are planning to use the like the Gemini model instead of OpenAI. Uh, so if you are planning to do that kind of replacements, in case of your own coding, you have to again completely rewrite the code, right? Because connecting with vector database like Pinecone and ChromeDB, both are entirely different. Their libraries totally different, and the way of connect and the way of handling the data, everything is different. Okay, so we have to completely rewrite the code, and similarly handling LLMs, handling embedding model, everything is bit different based on the providers. Okay, but in case of LangChain, it gives some abstraction. Okay, so we got to just simply replace it, and the flow also we can easily change it. Yes, if you are planning to implement re-ranking, and if you are planning to get the output from different LLMs, and uh, you can just simply exchange the steps in the process. You can put this the second step into fourth place, and fourth step into the first place, like that you can easily change with the help of this LangChain. Can you expand, you can do a lot of research by change code maintenance, and so will be. But LangChain is best suitable for these kinds of linear in case of graph, other kind of node, that kind of node edges, that kind of relations, or workflow like going in patient, some those, we got the lang graph. So basically, LangChain provides modularity. Okay, so connect with it prompt template. from previously, like I will be to here we are asking some questions like what is the weather uh, temperature in particular okay. So for example, you are asking what is the temperature in Chennai, right? So in that case, that LLMs, as I said, they may not be having latest information. They don't know the weather details, right? But in our application, we can get the details by sending the city name into some API access provided by like weather data managing companies, right? But the combining the LLM operation and our own that API access, that be a bit difficult, right? For that, almost recent are provided with this tool calling or function calling, that kind of. We can just send the prompt LLMs. LLMs will be sending the actual function with the proper formatting of that argument. So for example, your function name is get weather and the argument is the name. It will be just the user query is what is the weather in Chennai, and LLM will be responding saying that get weather within brackets Chennai, like that. Okay, so that your application can easily just call that and get the output and display it to the. So for that, we got to send the list of available functions and their arguments and return type, everything to the LLM's prompt. That is what, that kind of things can be easily managed with LangChain. All the other regulated document. Basically, these kinds of things, LangChain. So it's just a framework. It won't be adding any kind of new functionality. Okay, whatever things we are doing, the actual like manual code, basic coding, that process will be simplified. Okay, number of code reduced, maintenance. Prompt template is like instead of like hard coding all the prompt, can some variable kind of, right? For example, I will show it in the coding of the prompt templating. Function use like most kind of, for example, that part linear flow, important thing, abstraction, like saving a lot of time, spending our time to understand about libraries. We can while LangChain, same answer, modular, handles multi-step. Here the question for your answer, right? Like managing the session thing, that will be very easy in case of LangChain. You can just for memory, there are some classes are there. We can just use them. They will automatically manage. But otherwise, we have to try to manually write the code for maintaining sessions, context. Building blocks of LangChain prompt template, LLM prompt templates. Mostly, I can explain this. Overall, we can understand that the prompt, creating the prompt, in case of RAG, the augmenting that generation, right, with the proper prompting. There in the diagram, we noticed that it is like a combining your query and the context chunks. Okay. Apart from that, I explained that we have to include system prompt also. So all these things, creating the code manually will take significant time. So in case of prompt template, we can easily come up with that kind of, and LLM chains as every steps. It is chain process of one output of one step will be the input of next step. That chain setup can be easily and a tool calling like memory from all these things can be done with without the framework also, but framework will be save time. They explain memory LangChain conversation buffer memory or summary memory be like summarizing else that it can start off without exceeding the context. When to use LangChain? The LangChain, as I said, it is more suitable for that linear processor tag. In case of agentic thing, we got to, or any kind of graph kind of workflow, we got to go with lang graph. You're seeing this screen, right? Code, sample code. Whether it is readable or I need to zoom it. Is it readable?
Yes.
Trying to show you LangChain. PDFs I download. I'm running the full thing. We downloaded one document, asking questions related to this document that RAG system get the relevant portion of this document information, and it will send that information, that context information along with our question to the LLM, and the LLM will be time converting. Here I'm using LangChain framework. This for the files like PDF files one by one from that folder here. And then we are splitting the document. Here while splitting, we can specify the chunk size and the chunk overlap. Okay. LangChain character text there. There are different kinds of lot of things are there. As I said, LangChain is a powerful framework. They provide different type of classes and even parameters. Here also we can set whether the chunk size is measured in characters or sentence or new line or words. Lot of options there. Okay. But my personal suggestion is even if the LangChain is providing these things, sometimes we may need some complex things. So in that case, it is always better to try to do these things without framework also. That is some good practice. Our application or use case is a bit complex. The traditional way of like standard way of using LangChain frameworks are not that much helpful. If we need more complex way of handling the data or the flow, then we have to go with our own. So for that, almost all the uh, like um, lot of open source free libraries are there. For example, for handling PDF, we can instead of using characters, we can create our own logic for PDF management. We can create other PDF libraries. And my understanding, almost all the RAG applications LangChain for that. But in some cases, if it is not that helpful, we can go with like Google frameworks. The flow is we are reading the files from this PDF folder and reading character. We are passing the case 500 first 500 characters it will and the next but with overlap. Again, instead of starting from 500, starting from 400, and it is very important. Otherwise, the context will be losing some meaning, right? If the sentence is broken in between, to avoid that kind of stuff, we have to provide app. And third step is you have to create the embeddings at chunks and store it in the vector database. Here I am using Spice vector database is database one. Even it can work in 3. But if you want, you can store it and then we can load it again. ChromaDB also we can. But in case of Pinecone, other managed cloud-based databases, we have to get API access from them and them through API call. Fourth step is like start model. You have to LLMs model LLM model where I'm using. Then we have to create this retriever. Next step is the final step, creating the RAG chain. Here prompt template. I was prompt template, right? This prompt template. Here in the context, they will be like they are receiving from right. context getting a search. Here we are creating that's stub chain. Stub chain is like they're using right create stub documents chain. Here it's like just combining the other things are also there. A lot of different kind of map reduce that they will be creating summary tag chain stub chain. So basically we are combining all the things, right? Vector database of prompt temp LLM. So this is what that chain LangChain. Okay. Otherwise, if it coding individually, our first step should be um, sending the query in the database and then getting the top K output and getting that chunks and then creating this prompt and that context prompt, and then we have to send that combined prompt in the LLM. Step by step we have to do. Because of this LangChain framework, we are defining everything. Prompt we are defining LLM, and we are defining and we are just creating the. And we are using LangChain, sending this. We are getting the response. We are splitting it to 500 characters. 500 characters. Right? And system. ADS. Of the time we cannot like sometimes it can that why we need to explore various answer based on this. But because of the natural language or the not just some. For that, we have to create a lot of work randomly, quite clear instruction. Can keep on asking. Can try with some document. Anyone has any lesson PDF file? Need to get some PDF file. Otherwise, if the PDF information is there in the LLM, means LLMs can answer from their trained data, right? Consider both files. Get answer. can ask. Provided two different files. Hospital. One is application is able to split it into different chunks of both the PDFs and store the vector. Getting the details from relevant chunk. With the help of LLM, they are creating that. But we cannot expect everything smoothly sometimes. Have to the PDF. Some PDFs maybe like instead of text, they will be having a lot of images. Okay, in that case, like we have to use different kinds of PDF libraries with OCR capability. And sometimes the PDF files will be having a lot of tables. Okay, the data will be in tabular format. For that, many people are saying that instead of converting to them into text and then storing the vector database and doing the vector search, in that process, it seems a lot of people are saying that it will be giving some uh, irrelevant reply because the tables are a bit complex, right? So they will be just while splitting, we don't know how the splitting will occur, right? It won't like happen based on our expectation. But in case of treating it as image, they are saying that it is working well. They mean to say that they can just with a computer vision, that kind of approach, we can just like split the document with different images and can image similar to this text embeddings, image kind of embeddings that the models they can as embeddings, okay, and then do the search like image kind of search, and that sometimes that will be giving relevant reply. LangChain is making the very easy. Otherwise, we have to do a lot of things. It's a vector data search, like we need like top k value, whether we need a top 3 or top 2 like that, and we have to take the cosine similarity that score. Okay, the vector database, like each vector database will be handling in different way. Okay, but the concept is it is like a vector and equivalent text. We need the text. Search for searching purpose, the vector that embeddings will be used, but we don't need that embeddings. We cannot just send the embedding value into LLM, right? We need to get equivalent text. So we have to handle everything in the coding. But in case of LangChain, that process defined and can use it. But doing debugging, other things will be a bit difficult. For that, for logging other things, like that LangChain, that platform is providing one another service like Langsmith, like that. Okay, uh, but in debugging other things, like case of our own coding with LangChain, that flow everything will be in full control, right? We can do the debugging everything. So it's all based on our requirements. Want to do the project very quickly, that way it's a very simple project, means you can go with framework. Otherwise we can, okay. Mixing both things also possible, right? For some purpose, we can use our own way of coding. For something, we can use the library. Time and yeah, I'm creating a lot of blog posts, blog, blog.quality.com, lot of related information. Even I added a lot of this tag related. You are interested in learning more about that? Lot of rag related. And I am planning to add agentic AI related information now. Apart from that, I added a lot of fundamentals about AI, how it is from uh, programming, learning, that kind of. I added a lot of articles there, a lot of, and I created one course also. I put a lot of there. You can find the details. There I added more than 5 hours of recorded tutorial videos and 8 AI related ebooks. Okay. There you can else want to learn more that you can that. And in this channel itself, I did a lot of YouTube live and upload a lot of videos also. You can check in the channel itself, or if you want to get it in one place, you can buy it from here. As of now, I set it very low price only in India, 300 rupees only, globally $8 only. And right now I'm doing one live coaching also. That batch already started. Next batch I am planning to start July 24th. Okay, that will be a 4 week live coaching. There I am planning to start from basics AI tag development and how to use AI effectively in our business. Interested? I'm offering affiliate for referral also. You can get the details here. Okay, just to visit this blog.cultivate.com. I provided the link in the description of this video itself. Here you can, and apart from that, if you want me to develop any kind of AI applications or one-on-one coaching, I can do early charges. For that I provided my email ID. All about blog. And I plan to do a lot of live coming days. If you have any specific questions or if you have any topic suggestion, just mention them through the comments. I will be going through that, and based on that, I already did different lives, like more than 2 hours of lives about basics of AI, how basically AI, that machine learning, deep learning are working, that kind of information. And another live is about how to start learning AI. That also I think I did around 2 hours. And emerging AI trends 2025. Recently, I did that live, so you can refer that videos also. But in case if you are buying this recorded course, I'll be frequently sending newsletters about the latest happenings AI. Apart from these hours of videos and the 80 books, you get latest information also. You are completing that AI one test, you can get certificate, online shareable certificate. All about. And if you have any questions about RAG, you can ask. RAG, any live, but for you, it's audible, right?
Actually, that was earlier before you were interrupted from
Okay.
the
Now it's no.
Yeah, all good. Thank you.
Any questions? Yes. Thanks for attending this session. Okay. If you have any questions, you can just ask them comment section of any of my videos. I will be all the comments. Otherwise, if something important, just send mail to me. I mentioned the lady here, rajamanikam.a@gmail. Right. Thanks.
Thank you very much.